Hello. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to share with you how the 30-day minimalism challenge works and how you can join me if you want to do it with me and with other like-minded Christian women who want to live intentionally. So I'm live on Facebook right now, and we're going to share this on YouTube later. We'll put the recording on there. So if you're watching this on Facebook, share this video so that you can do this challenge with friends, which would be really fun, really motivating and inspiring. We all could use more accountability. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. And okay, let's talk about this. This will be brief. So the 30-day minimalism game was not created by me. It was created by the guys known as the Minimalists, Ryan Nicodemus and Joshua Fields Milburn. And this is how it works. Pretty simple. You do this game for 30 days. On the first day, you declutter one item. On the second day, you declutter 2 items. On the third day, you declutter 3 items. I think you can see where this is going. I think to keep it simple, it works best to start on the first of the month because then you just declutter the number of items that correspond with that day. So on the 17th of the month, you're going to declutter 17 items. And if you think that that is going to be hard, just consider the fact that I've heard the stat many different places. The average American has, or the average American home, I think, has 300,000 items in it. So I think we can do this, you guys. Here's what this is going to total up to. Obviously, towards the end of this challenge, you're going to be decluttering 26, 27, 28, 29 items up to 30 items in the final day. And if you do this in a 30-day month, that totals up to, dun dun dun, 465 items. Can I get an amen? So we can do this, you guys. 465 items out of 300,000. We can do this. I think I could declutter that many items just from my garage, if not like my car center console. And I even consider myself a minimalist. So I think this is going to be really fun. I think it'd be fun to do it together. So I want to invite you to do this with me in June. And if you want to join me, here's all you have to do. This is totally free. It's just for fun. I'm not like selling anything. We're just doing this for fun. All you have to do is just click the link that you see below this video or wherever it may be, depending on where you're watching it. Click the link and put your email info in there to sign up and join us. You're going to get 3 things. I'm going to email you 3 things so you can participate in this. Number 1, you are going to get, had a moment of panic because I didn't know where I put it. You're going to get this fun tracker so that you can check off day 1, day 2, day 3, all the stuff that you're decluttering. And I feel like this would be really helpful if you, especially as you're getting like further along, where you might not have time to declutter 27 items all at once, but maybe you're kind of doing it throughout the day and you can be like checking off and seeing your progress. So I'll send you that. The second thing I will send you is my newest freebie that I shared about last week, which is 15 questions to help you declutter more and faster. These are my top questions because I'm a decluttering nerd and I have a Google Doc of my favorite decluttering questions. These are my favorite questions from that document that you can use so you can print out that document and just review these questions to encourage you to be ruthless and go through stuff. Asking yourself these questions is going to help you be like, yeah, I don't need this thing. I can get rid of this thing. One of my favorite things that the minimalists, the guys who created this game, talk about is one of their favorite things for like getting rid of stuff is they say, could I replace this thing for less than $20 in less than 20 minutes? And if so, okay, I can probably let it go. So you're going to see some of my favorite questions that I've come up with on that PDF, as well as from some of my favorite minimalists that I follow. So that's the second thing you're going to get when you put your email address in. The third thing you're going to get is a link to a private exclusive Facebook group, just basically for these 30 days for the women who want to do this challenge. Now, I know Facebook groups can feel very overwhelming and they're everywhere. So if that does not interest you or you're not on Facebook, that's fine. Obviously, you're on Facebook if you're watching this on Facebook Live. But if you're on YouTube and you're like, I'm not on Facebook, that's fine. Or if Facebook groups feel overwhelming to you and they're just more of a burden than they are a blessing, don't join the Facebook group. I don't care. But if that is motivating for you and if you want to be able to like ask questions of people, share things that you're stuck on, ask ideas, share like pictures of look at the stuff I got rid of, whatever, then we are going to have a Facebook group and I will be in that Facebook group sharing some of the stuff that I'm decluttering and, just giving you some free encouragement. So That's all. Now, you might have some questions about this. These are some questions that I feel like people ask most often or that come to mind for me related to this game. So I'll go through those. But if you're watching this live or even the recording, feel free to share any other questions you might have and I can answer them. I think the first thing is like, how do I count the number of items? Like if I declutter 12 old pieces of silverware, do I count that as one thing or 12 things? To that, I would say, you get to decide. How hardcore do you want to be about this? If you count that as one thing, obviously you're going to declutter more. So, we don't need to be like legalistic here. This isn't school. You're not getting graded. So do what works for you. Second thing, what do I do with the stuff that I declutter? So the minimalists, according to their game, technically, you have to get rid of those items by midnight that day. That is a tall order, I feel like, especially if you are a busy person and you have kids. But they say that with good reason because we all know what it's like to set something aside in the basement, in the garage, in the trunk that we're going to sell, or we're going to take it and donate it somewhere, or we're going to pass it on to someone, and then it sits around and stays there forever. So you haven't really decluttered it, you just moved it to a different spot of your house. So I would encourage you to get rid of things as quickly as possible, but that said, again, this isn't school, you're not getting graded, so you're not going to be like disqualified if you don't get rid of your stuff by midnight. But I do think that this challenge is a good opportunity to kind of come up with a system for that in your life, to kind of figure out, like, for example, what is the threshold for us and our family that something needs to be worth for me to bother trying to sell it, like $50 or whatever. Come up with that. Where are the places that we get rid of things to? What do we do with our kids' clothes, for example? Like, what is our standard process for that? Do we give them to family? Do we donate them to Goodwill? Do we donate them to a shelter? Whatever, like to kind of figure out that stuff. For us, like for us to be willing to sell something, usually I have to feel like I can get at least $30 for that. And usually I'm only going to bother like posting something to sell if I have numerous things that I can sell all at once. I can just get all those annoying Facebook messages. Is this still available? Is this still available? Out of the way over like one weekend, get rid of the stuff, make a couple $100 and move on. But aside from that, usually we're just going to donate stuff in our house. Another system that we have for things that we might not like get rid of immediately is that we have a huge bin in our basement. And when that is full, okay, that's like our decluttering bin. When that bin is full, we need to go through that and like get rid of that stuff to the places that we like to give things to. And our first two options are a center that works with trafficked women and then Milwaukee Rescue Mission, which is a homeless shelter. So that's kind of like the first place that we try to give stuff to. And if the items are not things that they are able to use, then we'll do Goodwill or whatever. So again, I don't want to get too much into the weeds of our system, but if you're not going to get rid of stuff right away that day, start to figure out what is our system in our family to make sure that once we decide we're decluttering something, it actually gets out of our house easily and quickly. And I would encourage you to really think about, as I'm decluttering, what am I trying to achieve here? If the number one thing that you're trying to achieve is making more money, okay, then put a bunch of extra time after you've decluttered into selling your stuff. But for most of us, we're decluttering so that we have more time, more margin, and the selling probably isn't necessary or worthwhile. And we could just give that stuff to people and they would be blessed by it. So think about maybe decluttering things in ways that are going to be a little bit simpler for you. Like we're just throwing it in the recycling or putting it on the side of the road. People seem to love doing that in our neighborhood. And our neighbor Luigi will pick up any of your stuff that seems valuable and sell it at his next rummage sale. I'm not even kidding. So put it on the side of the road and let someone take it. Like I have some awesome stuff in my house from the side of the road, including this lamp in the background that you can see. Got it on the side of the road. Thanks, neighbor. And then finally, what kind of stuff are you supposed to declutter? So they do not give you any parameters like, here's what you need to declutter in this order or anything like that. So you can do whatever you want. Here's what I would think about. When someone wants to take action on something, usually what I kind of recommend for them is think about either number one, things that are going to be low hanging fruit and easy to do, or number two, things that are going to be a huge pain point. So you can start with like sentimental stuff if you want. And I just did a video on that last week where I give some tips on that, but that's going to be hard, right? And for most of us, our sentimental stuff is kind of tucked away. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. But if your kids' toys are driving you freaking crazy and that's a huge pain point, maybe you want to start there because that's going to make a big impact. Or if you have a bunch of, maternity clothes and I'm definitely not planning on having kids anymore, like, okay, that's a pretty easy thing to get rid of, right? So again, addressing a pain point or addressing something that's low-hanging fruit, pretty easy to get rid of. Or you have like a bunch of old books, textbooks that you're like, I definitely am never gonna need these again, right? Like things that are easy to do. So I would focus maybe on one of those areas, and it's a bonus if like your biggest pain point is also really easy to declutter, but sometimes that's not the same. And we can share ideas with each other. And I think you can go about this, again, you've got space to like check off each thing. So you could declutter like 27 completely random items on day 27 from different areas of your life. That's an option for you. Or you could be a little bit more focused on categories like, okay, I'm going to start with my kids' toys. Or I'm going to start with my clothes, on day one. And I'm just going to stick with clothes until I feel like I've kind of exhausted everything there. And then I'll find a new category. So I think there's so many fun ways you can do this. There's so it's, specific enough, and it's this game and this challenge that it's motivating and it's time specific, right? There's a deadline to it, so to speak, but there's enough freedom and wiggle room that you can have some fun with this and make it what you want. So let's do this together. I think it'll be fun. Sign up, put your email address into that link, which is probably down below, depending on where you're watching this. And if you have any other questions, let me know. Again, this is just for fun. I just think it'd be fun to, do a challenge together and focus on living intentionally. All right, I will talk to you guys soon.